funny that we're doing All-Star Superman, and as has been announced already, we're doing next year, we're doing Batman Year One. So comics that weren't necessarily, you know, or movies that weren't necessarily based on comic book classics, with the exception of probably, you know, New Frontier. But we've kind of gone back to like, yeah, let's find some really, you know, famous source material and try to, you know, honor them and do them justice.
Sam Liu.
Sam Liu
really did some amazing camera angles on this, some real great animation work. Can you talk about what his strengths are as a director?
Sam is very thorough, and he thinks about the show a lot. He actually kind of drives me crazy sometimes. Like, oh, Bruce, don't you think that, you know, there's this blah, 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 and it's like, oh my God, he's thinking about this way too hard. But he does. I appreciate somebody who gives it that much thought, and so that an action scene isn't just an action scene. It's actually part of the story. That's what I actually rely on. I try to get that out of all my directors. But Sam is really conscientious and detail-oriented, and like I said, he really thinks about it, and he thinks in big picture, you know, thematic ways. He's just an all-around talented director.
This is a good mix, and when you were saying all-around film, we have a lot of comedy and love story and action mixed in. It might be something you could discuss, or maybe should we just show them an example of all of those stories?
Sure.
All right, Mike, if you're back there, we have a little scene. Don't roll it just yet. Hang on. It's a Atlas. Cut out or head removed, and what is it that you insist on having stay in the film?
I didn't really have to insist on anything. Fortunately, I did not work on the adaptation. When we decided we were going to do this film, like I said, I looked at it and kind of went, I don't know how you do this, because it's 12 issues of wonderment, and I don't know how you would cut anything out of it. So we basically gave it to Dwayne McDuffie to figure out, and all on his own, without any discussion with us, kind of on his first outline, he reread the comic. Unfortunately, he was a huge fan of the comic. He reread the comic, made notes, sent in his outline, and I read it, and it was like, wow, okay, I don't miss anything that he cut out, even though some of my favorite episodes from the comic aren't there. But the way he structured everything, he focused on what you need to do to make this into a movie, and I thought he did a brilliant job. And so like I said, even though there are wonderful things in the comic that aren't in the movie, they don't need to be there for this particular version of this story. So I just think I just thought he did a brilliant job of it. And I will say, by the way, mind you, Grant Morrison has also seen it, and he was amazed by what Dwayne had done with the story. There was one point, we stayed really close to the comic as much as possible in terms of dialogue and everything. And there's at least one scene in there that Grant, as he was watching it, said, God, I wish I'd thought to do it that way. So that was a really big compliment coming.
Was that scene the Parasite scene?
No.
Damn it, I wanted to show
No, that would have been a good segue.
Should we have?
So now we can't show this to the Parasite trailer. Can you see it?
I'll go right into imagery though. How did you go about trying to convert Frank Whiteley's?
It was tough. We've done several of these straight adaptations of specific comics, starting with New Frontier, and then we did the Public Enemies, and then Superman Apocalypse, Superman Batman Apocalypse, which were all based on the original artist's style. I have to say that this is the hardest one we've ever done. Like I said, I'm a huge fan of Frank Whiteley's artwork. He has a really unique style. It doesn't really look anything like typical American superhero comics. If anything, I think it comes from a more European kind of look. And that's great, and that's a big part of the appeal of the comic, was the kind of really unique style that he had drawn the characters in. But if you don't draw them right, they look like bags of mashed potatoes. And so it was really hard to find a way to take what we liked about his style, the way he draws faces and anatomy, and even Superman's shorts, and all these quirky, fun things, and put them in a form that can be animated consistently overseas. And it was a lot of R&D. We took a lot of back and forth to try to figure out how to make it work. I give all credit in the world to a brilliant artist in our staff named John Suzuki, who was the guy who finally cracked the Quietly code and came up with the final designs for what we see on the screen.
Anybody out there have any questions they might want to ask? Okay, 1, 2, great. Microphones. There are microphones out in the audience. I'm positive of this. Here comes a gentleman in a red shirt. Red shirt. First person that raises their hand next to you again.
All right.
There we go.
Please form a line up here. Take questions. I have a question for Bruce. What would you say is your favorite of the movies that isn't All-Star Superman? And yeah, that's good.
Well, Wonder Woman, of course. I can't really rank them as 1, 2, 3. I think Wonder Woman's really great. I think Red Hood, I think, is really, really good too. I mean, they all have their good parts, but I think some of them are just a little bit more better than others.
Next.
Hello, how are you? To Bruce, thank you. You're the reason I can speak English. I came from the Dominican Republic where they gave Batman in Spanish, so I learned English.
I'll bet he sounded awesome in Spanish.
Yeah. He almost sounded exactly like Kevin Conroy, but I still think Kevin Conroy is the real Batman at all times. My question is, do you think you'll ever do like an R-rated comic book like Arkham Asylum or something like that into a movie?
Well, maybe. I can say this much. A couple of years ago, we actually got pretty far down the path of doing an R-rated DC movie, and it didn't get the green light at the very last second. We got cold feet about it, but it could happen. We still talk about it occasionally. We just have to figure out when the time is exactly right to do it, so it could happen.
If you're leaving, you may miss something at the end.
Oh, we have one more left.
We'll see. We'll see if Mike has queued it up and skipped that other one.
Next.
All right.
First, I'd just like to say I feel a little chipped. Last year we got to see all of Wonder Woman. And we didn't get to see the entire movie this time, but that Wonder Woman was great, and I love Michael Jelenich's writing on Batman Ravenwood and a few things I've seen.
You hear that, Bruce? Yeah.
We were trying to break balance between humor. My question is, I think I lost my mic.
Is there animation that you enjoy watching? You mentioned Joaquin Dos Santos and Avatar: Last Airbender, and his direction on that was like my close to Batman animated series, my all-time favorite series. Wondering what animation out there that you guys watch, or is there anything you just make it and don't watch what's out there too much?
I don't watch a lot of cartoons.
You watch my stuff, don't you, Bruce? You love my stuff.
You know, what I have seen of Raven's Bold I really like.
Is it better than Batman animated series?
I want to get the whole thing on a DVD set. I want to watch it from beginning to end, so I'm waiting for the DVD.
But he wants the complete series, so his standards.
I will say I'm also a big fan of Avatar. I think that's a great series. Actually, I'm working on the Undercats right now. We're taking a look. We're taking some inspiration from that, so yeah.
All right, we don't have that much time to swear, so let's keep it rolling.
Hi, that was amazing. First of all, that was fantastic. Second, I love both of your guys' works. I love the movies, I love the animated series. Batman Break the Mold is just. Do you guys feel that you have too much of a safe zone going back and forth between like iconic heroes like Superman and Batman? Do you feel like you're not taking enough risk, like maybe like bringing out heroes that like nobody knows too much about, like Firestorm, Uncle Sam and the Freedom Fighters. Like all those characters that were just pushed in the back. I think we need to see more of.
Freedom should.
Yes, Freedom Fighters will be in an episode of Brave and the Bold. So.
Nice.
All of them. Dollman, Sam. So I mean, show like Brave. I mean, at the end of the day, we have to sort of support the brand, Superman, Batman. Good thing about Brave and the Bold, it's sort of a vehicle that lets us explore some of those other characters that maybe can't support a series. So.
All right, next.
Hi, Bruce. I'm a big fan of you. I've watched you since Batman the Animated Series. I always want to ask, what was your favorite part about Batman the Animated Series?
No. Batman?
What did you like the most about the animation of the animated series, particularly?
Batman?
Next.
Hi, I was just wondering if you're going to be doing a signing this weekend, and also during your conference calls, has the Sandman ever gotten brought up?
Sandman has come up several times. Yeah. And I don't know if I'm doing a signing.
You're doing a signing for your TV.
Oh yeah, my TV announcement tomorrow.
Yes.
Yeah, okay. I mean, I'm doing a signing tomorrow.
He is doing a signing. I think it's DC.
Me too.
Next.
Yeah.
Hi.
Hello.
Okay. So in some of your movies, like Public Enemy and recently Spider-Man Apocalypse, you use the original DC animated universe voice actor, and in some other movies like Wonder Woman and
Under the Red Hood?
Kingdom Come, you use completely different people. What makes you choose between getting the original cast and getting like new people, or do you think people prefer the original cast from the new people?
It's kind of hard to quantify exactly, but sometimes you'll be casting a project and the TV cast just doesn't quite fit. For instance, on All-Star Superman, I had certain kind of Superman and Lois Lane voices in my head that weren't Tim Daly and Dana Delaney. It's not that they wouldn't have done a good job, but they're so closely identified with the TV series versions of those characters that I thought that the Grant Morrison, Frank Whiteley versions were just different enough that I didn't want to bring Tim and Dana in to do them, so I needed to get new voices to play them. And specifically on Lois. Lois, to me, in the comics, in the All-Star Superman comic, seems significantly younger than we played Lois in the past, so I wanted to get somebody who had a more, not innocent or naive, but just a more younger quality. So, like I said, it's a case-by-case basis. We love using Kevin and Tim and Susan and the whole gang whenever we can, and you will be hearing more of that in the future.
Thank you.
Bruce, kudos to you and your team, to Michael, because I still can't believe I read these comic books from years ago. Now they've been brought to life. I've never dreamed it would happen, so thank you. Which leads me to my question. There are two DC events that now you give me hope that actually this could happen. An animation of Kingdom Come and Crisis of Infinite Earths. Is that ever a possibility?
Doubtful. Crisis is a really, really big story with a huge cast of characters in it. I think it would be really, 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 really difficult to make a movie out of that. Even a miniseries. It's huge. It's got too many characters and stuff in it. So I mean, I wouldn't say it's inconceivable sometime in the future, but it's certainly not on our radar right now. And Kingdom Come, unfortunately, I think that is so tied to Alex Ross's art style, which there would be no way to do that in 2D animation. Hand-drawn animation, I think you would have to do that in CG or some kind of CG live-action mix to do it properly, because otherwise it's not going to look like Alex Ross. There's just no way to make it look like Alex Ross. So currently, in the state of the industry and the state of the technology that we have, I don't think we're doing either one of those anytime soon. Sorry.
It's okay.
Thank you for all the work you've done so far. May I have a suggestion? Can you guys